Give them a shot to do what?
What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Not even welcome back. Welcome to the Pack a Punch podcast presented by the Give Us a Shot Network. Joining me on the first episode, my guy, my brother in Packers crime, Justin Marvel. How you doing, man? It's been a minute. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I never thought that after a Packer draft I would actually say I'm doing good, but yeah, I'm doing great, and I want to shout out to you and the boys at Give Us a Shot Network for producing this show, creating this show, coming up with the idea. Like, this was needed, and I was not going to let you do this show and me not come on. Like, that was not going to happen.
Bro. Oh, I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I got to place. First of all, before we go any further, I just want to say huge shout out to the Give Us a Shot Network. Huge shout out to Germ. Countless phone calls, countless text messages back and forth between myself and Germ over the past couple months to bring this idea of life, or bring this idea to life. And now I have a place, unfiltered, unrestricted, to talk all things Green Bay football, bro. Look,
I'm surprised Germ allowed this. So, like, for Germ to co-sign this, like, he was drinking on the day, right?
Look, I said this a couple weeks ago, and I'll say it again. Germ is the ultimate enabler. He's a very, very, very supportive guy. I appreciate Germ, just always willing to support the ideas, whether it's rebranding Goat Talk with Marcus, whether it's bringing on Protect Our Queens with my guy Martin, whether it's starting up Pack a Punch. He's always there. Ultimate enabler. And, sometimes having an enabler in your corner is a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. This time around, though, it is a good thing. The setup is great. I'm loving it. I'm loving the vibes. I got my guy Just with me. And this is all you Packers fans, bro. This is where we at. We're going to talk some good old Packer football. I can't wait. There's only two topics on the show tonight, really, because there's really only two things we got to talk about. We're going to start off first, of course, with the big one. Brian Gutekunst did it again. He did it again. 11 players drafted this year by Green Bay. There's a lot to talk about, so we're gonna take a bunch of different angles. But I want to start first. Who's your favorite pick of the draft class this year?
I think it's everyone. Like, when you go on a national broadcast and shout out, I am a effing Packer. Like, come on down. Like, I have never heard someone before shout such elation to come to. And let me tell you, this is no shot at anything Wisconsin, but I can tell you, for more months than it's not, it is extremely cold. And for a man to be so enthusiastic about coming here, obviously by now we all know I mean Javon Bullard. And not just because of, the enthusiasm he showed about coming here, but no, because we, our big free agent acquisition, as everyone knows, is Xavier McKinney. No, you get to pair him in that backfield where, we've had some issues here and there, especially with Adrian Amos being, allowed to leave last season. Like, I absolutely love the pick. And what I love also about the pick, then you double down and pick two more rookie safeties behind him, right? So what you'll realize, me saying about this first topic, the theme for me is competition. Mm-hmm. And having competition at multiple spots is always a good thing, because you can only get better with competition. And if you're not getting better, you're not going to get playing time. So, like, I know you were going to touch on this, but Javon Bullard, in fact, no, you go ahead with your favorite pick, and then we can go deep in this.
My favorite pick, I'm going to be honest, bro. I'm going to be honest. There's one, so when I put the show together, my favorite pick was Marshawn Lloyd because I really like the addition. Obviously, we had the best backfield in football for like 2 hours. It was we had the best backfield in football for 2 hours. Right, we're bringing in Josh Jacobs, obviously on the 4-year, $48 million deal, right? And obviously, this is not like the succession plan for Josh Jacobs. Obviously, it's not what this is. What this is, though, honestly, this is the succession plan for AJ Dillon. And you know how much I love AJ Dillon. But when you talk about a guy in Marshawn Lloyd, like we're talking about a guy who, after like coming back from an ACL injury, he missed all of 2020 with the ACL injury back when he was at South Carolina. He comes to USC, right? And this is a guy who over the past 2 seasons at USC, he broke 94 tackles, which is 7th most in the country among Power 5 running backs. And he averaged nearly 4.5 yards per carry after contact, which is 4th highest in the FBS. So I love the Marshawn Lloyd pick, but it's not my favorite pick. My favorite pick is Big Jordan Morgan for the O-line. I mean, let's be honest here, right, bro? And here's why. We knew the day was coming. The writing was on the wall, right? We knew that there was going to be a day eventually where David Bakhtiari would no longer be a Green Bay Packer. Whether it was because he retired because of all the injuries or whether it's because we let him go because of all the injuries, we knew it was going to happen. And I was one of them. So for a lot of Packers fans, when we saw Cooper DeJean being mocked, it's like, oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. And then, maybe even Kool-Aid McKinstry. But when you sit back and you look at it and you realize what this offense line has been over the past couple of years with David Bakhtiari's injury history, which has been just a lot of versatility, guys playing multiple positions on the line, being moved around. We have a guy now in Jordan Morgan out of Arizona who, while he played 98% of his snaps at left tackle, so like he's obviously the shoo-in for the spot, he's also able to play at least 3 other positions on the line. So that versatility that Brian loves on that front line in the trenches, it's still there. But more importantly, and this is why I love, again, going back to the Marshawn Lloyd pick, now you have Marshawn Lloyd, you have AJ Dillon, you have Josh Jacobs. The reason why I love this pick so much is we're talking about a guy who in 2023 had 306 run blocking plays. He did not blow a single block. He had a 100% run blocking rate in 2023, which was, now obviously 100% is great, but his run blocking plays, 306, that's 3rd most without a blown block in the Power 5 in 2023. And he only allowed 2 sacks in 454 pass blocking plays last season. When you talk about an offense last season that was the youngest offense in NFL history to win a playoff game, that almost won a game in San Francisco, in a conference in the NFC, that is live or die by the trenches, right? Dallas, Philly, San Francisco. If you want to throw Detroit in there, you got it. And now you have another team in the Packers who is obviously looking to build on what we established last season. And you go out there and you go get a guy in Jordan Morgan who, admittedly, he even said it, I don't get to learn from David Bakhtiari, which sucks. But he studied a lot of D-Bach film. He models himself after. And so for me, keeping Jordan Love upright is obviously major. You're not winning football games if your quarterback's not upright. But now you have a guy who is one of the best run blockers in the country. And what I'm really, really hoping what this means now is that, and hopefully this doesn't get me upset, what I really hope this means now is that when we're going into these games where we're in these situations where we have to run the ball, either whether it's because the pass game isn't working, whatever the case may be, Matt LaFleur will actually call the run plays so we can run the ball because we have a guy and an offensive line in general that is probably going to be one of the better run blocking offensive lines in the league next season. So my favorite pick, Jordan Morgan, 100%, for the versatility, for the run blocking ability, for the pass blocking ability, and just for the stability that he brings to our offensive line and the versatility, he's my favorite pick, 100%.
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because again, it comes to my point about competition, right? And as you brought up, not only the Packers known for developing offensive linemen and drafting them, but they're known for drafting offensive linemen due to their versatility. And here's a point I want to bring up because I'm glad you mentioned how great of a run blocker he is. I think you're going to see, if training camp goes where expected to go, you could have a situation where Rasheed Walker and Morgan are playing on the same lane simply because, and I'm sure you saw these tweets during the early part of the offseason, Zach Tom is regarded within the organization as a future Hall of Famer and not at right tackle where he excelled last season. They believe that if Zach Tom is moved to center, that he can become a Hall of Fame center. And why that is so pertinent is because Josh Myers is on the last year of his rookie contract. And we haven't touched on this yet, but we drafted Jacob Monk.
Yep.
You can see a situation, don't call me crazy, so here's the first hot take for the night. Josh Myers may not even start opening day against Philadelphia in Brazil. You could see a situation where Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Elton Jenkins left guard, Zach Tom center, Sean Ryan right guard, and Guy Morgan first round pick at the right tackle, or swap Rasheed Walker, vice versa. I suspect whether this last season or not, we're seeing the end of Josh Myers right here, right now.
You know, that's fair. I and again, that
because
to
remember, Stanovich also has, like, the Packers have this thing, right? Like, because we know how versatile Elton Jenkins is. We've been told how versatile Zach Tom is. Then you pick up this first round pick who's also can play tackle, left tackle, right tackle, and guard.
Yeah.
They are going to put out what they think is the best 5 offensive linemen on the field, regardless of position. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you better, and that's what I like about what we've done in the draft, Dwayne. We are putting people on notice. You're coming to compete. So you're going to have to compete to get on that offensive line. You're going to have to compete to get in that inside linebacker position. You're going to have to compete to get in the backfield along a McKinney. The competition for spots is going to make this Packer team that much better.
And again, going back to the versatility point, there are not a lot of offensive lines in the league that you look at and you can say they have several offensive linemen that can play any position on the offensive line comfortably. And that's what we have. And when you talk about being different, when you talk about being competitive, when you talk about vying for championships, it's having that ability to show different look. Like, we don't think, like, of all the places to have different looks, right? Like, we talk about different personnel sets, right? We talk about sometimes having your X sometimes lined up in the slot just because it gives them a little more free range, right? We talk about having the two back, we talk about having 2 running backs in the backfield, or sometimes even 3 running backs in the backfield, or having one play the fullback just to give you a little bit more versatility out of the backfield. We don't talk a lot about having multiple guys on the offensive line, whether it's a guy like Morgan who can play both tackles or both guard positions, whether it's a guy like Zach Tom who, could play the guards or could play the center, whether you know what I mean? Like a guy like Elton Jenkins who can play on either side of the line at the guard position. Like, that's not something that you talk about often. And so to have a team this young that is this versatile outside of the lines, right, at the wide receiver position, now in the backfield, on defense, which we're going to talk about in a second, to bring that into the trenches makes it so that we should never, or we should very rarely go into games having concerns about matchups, because this team is built to be put in a position where there is some combination of this personnel that can match up with anybody. Like, that's how this team is built. And maybe that's like the built-in cushion that, like, we always have as Packers fans, that we fall back to, in 10 months when we're losing games that we're losing because of that, right? Because we're not exploiting matchups that we should be exploiting. But again, when you think about it, right, when you have an offensive line that's versatile, now if I'm going to San Francisco, I know they have Nick Bosa, I know they have Fred Warner, but, like, am I still concerned? Yeah. But am I as concerned as I would be? No, because I've got guys that I know are put into position where they can manage that, right? I can go to Dallas and go up against a Micah Parsons, and I can double Micah Parsons a lot more freely because I've got guys elsewhere on the line that are versatile enough, that are solid enough at the positions where they can hold their own, right? I can go to Philly and manage that front seven, right? I can even go to Minnesota because they got themselves an edge rusher. Like, I can handle these things with a lot more confidence because of the versatility that I'm presenting. And the word of the year for the Packers is going to be versatility. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because we're going to talk about this a lot more next week. If the Packers tap into the versatility, and if Matt LaFleur actually taps into that and actually incorporates that and not just says, all right, we're going to do what's worked in the past, but actually take a look at how much different this team is, how much different this team can be. This can be a very dangerous team in the NFC North, a very dangerous team in the NFC, and a very dangerous team in the league because of the versatility. There's not a lot of other teams in the league, maybe one or two off the top of my head, that have this much versatility offensively as a whole.
And then to your point now, what is going to make this offense hopefully as good as it was when it was finishing the season and then better in 2024 is sticking to being a run-first offense. We saw the moment that Aaron Jones was healthy and we committed to running the football on early downs, what we look like. I think Aaron Jones finished the season with 5 straight 100-yard games, and that coincided with our 4-game winning streak, which should have been a 5-game winning streak because we had no right losing to San Francisco. I'm sorry to bring this up, but we had no right losing that game. So no, I mean, it hurts to see Aaron Jones go, but from the moves, this is telling me we are going to continue to make this a run-first team and everything coming off of play action. And why is that? So again, you've added in Jordan Morgan, a great run blocker. You've brought in Josh Jacobs, obviously, because you're losing Aaron Jones. You added Marshawn Lloyd. And then when you look at the weapons, especially somebody like Christian Watson, his targets, his productivity comes off of that play action. Remember that first play on the first play game against Detroit on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
Dial up a play action, big bomb. And then that opens up everything. That is what, and they're going to see the development of Jordan Love. And this isn't to say that Jordan Love is like Baker Mayfield, where you have to cut the field in half for him to be any good. Yeah. This is that you bring along a young quarterback by having a strong run blocking line, a strong running back core behind him, being strong in run, coming out of run formations. You throw to that, develop his confidence and your ability to see, not just see the field better, but know you have the matchups because people are playing and run. And yeah, you got wide receivers running everywhere, but we're going to talk about that shortly, aren't we?
We are, but I want to go on the defensive side of the ball for just a second because sure. I looked at this defense coming into the draft and I was very comfortable with where we're at defensively. And what I mean by that is there were obviously weaknesses, right? Like there was obviously a glaring weakness in the secondary, but I thought that if the only focus of this draft was to draft for depth at the offensive line with versatility, to bring in another running back, and to add a corner or two, I would have been okay. To turn our defense now from what it was at the end of that game in San Francisco to now having Edgerrin Cooper out of Texas A&M, Javon Bullard, who you talked about out of Georgia, to now have Tyron Hopper out of Missouri, a linebacker, and to have Evan Williams out of Oregon, a safety, right? And then you go into the later rounds. We also picked up I don't want to say his name wrong, but the safety out of Oregon State that we drafted in the 5th round as well. And we also drafted Kalen King in the 7th round. Like for this defense to be what it is now, specifically the safety room, because that's the big thing for a lot of us, right? Because the safety room last year, oh boy, one good. And Darnell Savage had a good game against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, right? Shout out.
But he helped cost us that game against San Francisco because
he helped us lose against San Francisco. So for the safety room to turn into Xavier McKinney, Bullard, Williams, and the safety we drafted in the 5th round, I'm loving this secondary. I'm loving the pass rush. We talked about this at the beginning of last season. And I think we talked about this even at the beginning of the season before that. How our big issue with the Packers, more than anything, was the incompetence of Joe Barry.
Jesus Christ.
Because the team on defense was way too talented for us to tune in and see the things that we were seeing defensively, whether it's Preston Smith lined up against Justin Jefferson or all that other nonsense he had going on. To now, not only are you bringing in the defensive coordinator from Wisconsin, who I love, by the way, and I think he's going to do great. You're empowering him with so many, going back to that word, versatile, lanky, elite playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, both inside the box and outside the box. I love this defense so much. Obviously, we have to see them play on the field and all that stuff. I got you. But on paper, specifically the secondary, I feel a lot more confident about this secondary at this time right now than I did at this point last year. And that has a lot to do with what we did in the draft.
I will see, to let's halt the love on good just for a second. I will say I had cause for concern when we waited till the 7th round in King to address corner, right? And the reason being is that obviously you have a stud in Jair Alexander. I mean, we're both wearing Jair Alexander jerseys, but then not really addressing the corner position tells me that you have a lot of faith in Eric Stokes returning to some level of form after 2 years of injuries. But you say that, but you still didn't pick up his 5th-year option this season. So it's kind of weird. And for as good as, or in spot positions, you had Valentine, and Keyshawn Nixon. I don't know if you want another full season of that. Again, I guess it means that Eric Stokes should have a good season. I expect King to actually get a lot of playing time because the word on the street is he is not worth a 7th round pick. He's actually better than that, but there's not been reports as why he fell.
Yeah.
So you talked about the safeties. I mentioned Bullard, so I'm going to go away from that. If you ask me what was my second favorite pick, it's Adrian Cooper in that inside linebacker position because you know me. I love to run the football and I love to stop and run and make you one-dimensional. And if there has been a problem that the Packers have had over the last 10 years, is our inability to stop and run. I know you have two heat-seeking, ball-seeking inside linebackers in Quay Walker and Adrian Cooper. And why I absolutely love that is because we got to see what that looked like in Baltimore when they paired Roquan Smith with Patrick Queen. Like, you could not run the football on them. Like, when the gap opens, like one of the two of them are filling the gap, and then the other one is outside, like plugging, like what do we call it, sealing the lane. Like, I absolutely love this. And then also, I'm sure you are well aware, not only do we have problems stopping the run, but the moment that we have a quarterback that has like any piece of mobility, we have problems spying that person. No, you have two, not one, but two that you can leave into spy and the other person to hit gaps and holes. I don't want to get ahead of myself, like you said, but if our defensive coordinator is anything worth his salt, and with the young talent that he has, and once we no longer have Joe Barry to curse and abuse about those silly too high shells with so much space underneath, like that, like with all this talent, right? Yes, I know Hafley said that he's still going to play some sort of zone because he wants eyes on the ball and going after the football, but you can still play press man with that because you have arguably the best press corner in the league in Jair Alexander. And I know I've gone on and on, but I love the pickup of Adrian Cooper because now we have two heat-seeking missiles at inside linebacker.
And just add on to the Adrian Cooper pick. I mean, you take a look at some things that you talk about being a great fit for Green Bay, right? Last year, we ranked 28th in the league against the run. Adrian Cooper, when he was tackling ball carriers, he held them to 2.5 yards per carry as the tackler, right? Moreover, in the 5 years that Matt LaFleur has been our head coach, we have averaged almost 5 yards per carry, 4.7, which is dead last in the NFL. So you talk about a guy who's not only an elite playmaker, but you talk about a guy that is solving an issue in Green Bay. Adrian Cooper is solving an issue in Green Bay. And then You talk about rushing the passer, right? Which is what it's all about these days, is causing pressure on the quarterback. Cooper had 8 sacks last season, despite the fact that he only rushed the passer on 23% of his snaps. So he has a nose for the football, not just as a run stopper, but as a pass rusher as well. And as an added bonus, and I'm not really big on 40 times, but his 4.51, it was tied for fifth fastest among all the front 7 defenders. So Edgerrin Cooper, I thought, was an excellent pick. I'm going to be honest, much like a lot of people, again, when we draft the offensive tackle, when we draft Jordan Morgan, and then you show up the next day and Kool-Aid McKinstry and Cooper DeJean are still on the board, I'm not going to lie to you. I actually wanted to see Cooper. Not really Cooper, I'll be honest. By the time I saw that Kool-Aid was on the board, I really wanted to see Kool-Aid in the Green Bay uniform. But again, when you look at the picks that were made, like, I love this, bro. And again, going back to the safety room, last season, we had Darnell Savage, Jonathan Owens, Rudy Ford. That was our safety room. Now we have Xavier McKinney, we have Javon Bullard, and we have Evan Williams out of Oregon. Those 3 guys, I think, by this time next year, we could look back and say, man, that might have been the best safety trio the league saw in the season because of the versatility and because of the playmaking ability. So the draft from top to bottom, I thought was great. I thought when you talk about wanting to build off of what we established last season, going into Dallas, hanging almost 50, going into San Francisco and beating ourselves, basically, right? I love where we're at this season and heading into the 24-25 season and being able to build off of that. And at the very least, set or make it back to where we were last season, which is the divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
Again, it has to be played. Games have to be played. We can talk here about what it looks like on paper, but like you said, like, you had holes, you had needs, and you didn't reach for players to fill these holes. You found talented players because when you look at it, like, when you talk about Cooper, he was the highest rated inside linebacker in the draft. You talk about Lloyd, highest rated running back in the draft. Like, you fill these positions with talented players, and you know me, like, I am not a draft by need kind of person. I am one who believes in best player available, kind of marrying, need pick. I think we've done a good job, and it's just to perform on the field now. And I will say this, going forward, whatever shortcomings that we have, or if we have any, it is no on the coaching staff, because you've gotten everything that you want. Like, you don't really have glaring needs right now. You don't have glaring weaknesses. I may have wanted to see the defensive line get, a little stouter. I wish we had addressed corner a little earlier, but like, the depth is there. Your offense is what it is. Like, you have your deep out wide receiver. Hopefully we can get some health out of Luke Musgrave. Your deep out running back, your quarterback put on what I thought was a Pro Bowl caliber season. It's up to Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff.
Yeah, 100%. 100% up to Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff. Let's look around the NFC North for just a second. There's 2 newbies, a lot more, but there's 2 newbies in the NFC North at the most important position. Caleb Williams, obviously a Chicago Bear. J.J. McCarthy now, a Minnesota Viking. There's Caleb, there's J.J., obviously there's Jordan Love, obviously, of course, there's Jared Goff. Which quarterback should we be most concerned about?
For multiple reasons, it's Caleb Williams. Obviously, one, when you're being projected at number 1 for so long, right? Like, the talent is there. Like, this is, I'm not going to say it by far and away, because I am going to tell you, I was swept up in the emotion of Jaden Daniels, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, I think Caleb was the best, a good choice for number 1. But not just the talent at the quarterback position, but when you look at what Chicago has done now, like, this is no longer them setting up a quarterback to fill. So the first thing is that you bring in a competent offensive coordinator to lead the troops in Shane Waldron. That's one. And then you look at the moves that they've made. So not only did they have a legit number one in DJ Moore, you went out and added Keenan Williams. Like we all know, when you get past somebody, Devontae Adams, this is arguably the best route runner in the league. So you get Keenan Allen, then you turn around then and draft Rome Odunze. And on top of that, then you turn around and also pick up as a free agent acquisition DeAndre Swift, fresh off of a 1,000-yard campaign for Philly. I would have loved to see them address offensive line a little bit more, but you have Waldron, you have these plethora of weapons around Caleb Williams. You can make the case that for a number one overall quick pick at quarterback, this is the best situation that a quarterback has gone with a number one overall pick. So there are no longer excuses there. There are no longer built-in excuses as to why this quarterback is going to fail in Chicago. Like, it is either a fact that Caleb Williams just wasn't that guy, but it's not for what Chicago's put around him. So if you ask me again, it's because A, talent, he's clearly better than JJ McCarthy, and two, the situation. And to go to JJ now, I am not a fan of the pick in that history has told me draft after draft after draft, Dwayne, that there are only likely going to be two good quarterbacks per draft class.
Sure.
And you look at the first two picks were the last two Heisman winners in Caleb Williams and then Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in both of them, right? And I don't know I believe in the others in that first round. Definitely not Drake May. I'm not a Drake May fan. And certainly not Michael Penix either, but that's a conversation for another day. Like, I'm glad that they didn't move into the top 5 to get him, but still I think 11 is too high for JJ because I'm no draft analyst, but after Jaden Daniels, the rest of those quarterbacks, I have second-round grades on. I do not have first-round picks on these because unless you're talking about the 2020 draft, unless you're talking about the 2004 draft, or unless you're talking about the 1983 draft, the chances are there are only two good quarterbacks at the very most in every single draft. Look at the last time we spent, 5 picks, first-round picks on quarterbacks. Go to what the draft was at. That was the Josh Allen draft.
The Trevor Lawrence draft.
Oh, sorry. No, yes. The Trevor Lawrence draft is what I'm referring to.
Yep.
Look at every single quarterback after Trevor Lawrence. Look at them. Where are they now? Trey Lance is in Chicago. Sorry, in Dallas as a backup. I could go on and on. The kid that the New England Patriots took, he's old Trevor Lawrence's backup. Like, we've made hype about all these quarterbacks. So I like JJ's arm. I like JJ's playmaking ability in clutch moments. He's a good third down quarterback. He's proven that he's a winner, obviously, because he just won a national championship. I just don't know that JJ is the 11th overall pick.
Sure. So here's my thing. It's no secret that I'm a Justin Fields fan. I definitely, coming out of college, I was very big on Justin Fields. In fact, just a bit of history for you. The first podcast I guested on was Justin's podcast. It was leading up to the draft. We talked extensively about Justin Fields on that show. I was there. You were there, I believe. Peyton was there. And I think Brian Bolster was there also. I think it was the four of us. I think that was the draft show. We talked about Justin Fields. And
Justin Fields was a part of that draft. Sorry, my memory is so bad.
And the entire offseason, have said that there's nothing wrong with Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I never thought Justin Fields was a bad quarterback. I never thought Justin Fields lacked talent. What I knew is that the Chicago Bears, being the incompetent organization that they are, did not surround Justin Fields in the 4 years that he was in the league or with them with enough talent, right? They did not do that. The head coach that they had was not the head coach for Justin Fields. They did not give Justin Fields enough. And so, as all the girls in my generation say nowadays, clearly the Chicago Bears have proved that if they wanted to, they would. And obviously, they did not want to build around Justin Fields for one reason or another. And so they've decided to build around Caleb Williams. Is Caleb Williams a better quarterback than Justin Fields? Absolutely. I won't sit here and tell you that he's not. I'm not going to sit here. I am not arguing that Caleb Williams is a better quarterback, is not a better quarterback than Justin Fields. I'd be a fool to do so. But what I am saying is that I do think that it is a slap in the face, not just to Justin Fields. I think it's a slap in the face to the organization. I think it's a slap in the face to the fans to essentially waste 3 years just to decide now is the time to actually want to build a good football team. Because now what you've done is you've taken a guy in Caleb Williams, bona fide superstar, exceptional at the game of football, but you've given him all of this stuff. You've given him all these shiny new toys. DJ Moore was there last year, obviously, but you've given him Keenan Allen. You've given him Rome Odunze. You've given him DeAndre Swift. So he has a brand new offense filled with so many shiny new toys. And so now what happens, not if, what happens when we get to Thanksgiving, we get to Christmas, and the Bears season is still over, just like it was the year before. And the year, like, what's the conversation going to be then? Do I think that they're going to win more games than they did last season? Probably. I'd be a fool not to think so because this team is more talented. But let's remember who we're talking about. We're talking about the Chicago Bears here. And don't get me wrong. As talented as this team is, they still did not change or improve at the one position they needed to improve at, which was head coach. Why is Matt Eberflus still the head coach? If Matt Eberflus could not get the best out of Justin Fields, why would we now think that he's going to be able to get the best out of Caleb Williams, who, while maybe not as prolific of a runner as Justin Fields, is still a very prolific runner and is certainly a much better arm talent? So what you're telling me is I've got a better quarterback, I've got a better receiving core, I've got a better running back room, but I still have the same guy calling the plays. And Bears fans or football fans, Caleb Williams fans, whatever, are supposed to expect a different result. This team is better on paper. And because this team is better on paper, this team should win more games. That's just generally how it goes. But as excited as Bears fans are, and they have every right to be, there is still a very glaring issue with this football team, and that is Matt Eberflus. I could be wrong. I'd love to be wrong because I'm a Keenan Allen fan. I love Kate. Like, I want to see these guys, play well. Unfortunately, they're going to be playing well for the Bears, but I want to see them play well, right? But there's no reason for me to believe that Matt Eberflus is the guy for Caleb Williams. And so there's no reason for me to believe that in 4, 6, 8, 10 years from now, the Bears aren't still at least, they've elevated from the bowels of the NFL, and now they're up to just the ocean of mediocrity. Like, that's fine, but like, okay, like if that's what you're happy for, that's great, right? You go on to JJ McCarthy. I agree with you, not the 11th overall pick. I don't know what the thought process was there. I really don't. I gotta be honest. I really, really don't. I get it. You don't have Kirk Cousins and Kellen Mond, I think, is their backup. You don't want him to be QB. Got you. That's fine. And if you want to go get JJ McCarthy because his coach Jim Harbaugh said a lot of great things about him and you think he's the guy, absolutely love that for you. But here's the problem. This team is no better heading into this season than it was last season. In fact, it might actually be worse. So
it definitely is worse.
So my concern, to answer the original question, the quarterback I'm concerned about that gives me the most concern as a Packers fan, the team that gives me the most concern as a Packers fan is the team that was in the NFC Championship game last season, the Detroit Lions. The team that had the best season probably in the history of their franchise. The team that won their first home playoff game in 30 years. They made it to the NFC Championship game, I think, for the first time ever. The team that won the NFC North for the first time ever. Because last time they won the division, it wasn't the NFC North, it was the NFC Central. So shout out to the Lions. Like, if there's a team I'm concerned about, it's not Minnesota and it's not Chicago. It's Detroit. Because if I'm looking at the schedule, which drops on Thursday, and I'm saying, which games am I concerned about? I'm concerned about the games against Detroit, both the game in Green Bay and the game in Detroit. Because despite all of our improvements, the Lions are still the best team in the division.
Yep.
I have no problem saying they're still the best team in the division. And shout out to the Bears. They're now the third best team in the division. Kudos to you. But guess what? All these Bears fans out here talking about Caleb Oates, Green Bay, all this other nonsense. Hey, newsflash, pal. First of all, he hasn't played Green Bay yet, so he doesn't know anything. Second of all, most importantly, Caleb Williams, Packers fan. It's on Twitter. There's proof. He's a Packers fan. So I don't really know what I don't really know what you think he owns until he beats Green Bay. And I'm gonna be honest, until he beats Green Bay in Green Bay, he doesn't own anything. He doesn't own absolutely anything. So cool. Great for the Bears, great for Minnesota. Neither of those teams concern me as much as the Lions do.
Of course not. And especially it is clear that Minnesota has hit a hard reset. You let Kirk Cousins go in free agency, let KJ Osborne go in free agency, Daniil Hunter. I'm missing some more names. Jordan Hicks, Isaiah Madison. So it is clear you were starting over. This is not a team looking to contend. So I didn't mind the pickup of a young quarterback. But as I said, history shown, I'm sorry to the fans for me missing out names just now. Old age is starting to really get to me. But when you look at that Justin Fields draft, you're talking about Zach Wilson, number 2 overall. Knows somebody's backup. You're talking about Trey Lance, number 3 overall, backup in Dallas. Matt Jones, backup behind Trevor Lawrence. And now Justin Fields is arguably trying to fight for his job with Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. These deep quarterback classes that we talk about in the first round, maybe 2020, because you got Joe Burrow, you have where names killing me right now, but you have Justin Herbert, you also have Tua Tagovailoa, R1 Jordan Love, and on top of that, Jalen Hurts. So you have a history there, but these are exceptions to the rule. And had you picked up JJ in the second round, I would have been comfortable with that, but I don't know that he is worth a first-round grade. I will say I'm glad that they did take a young quarterback, and the expectations are not there because you are really kind of devoid of talent, with the exception, obviously, of Justin Jefferson. And here's my second hot take. I would not pay Justin Jefferson and let him leave, because the reality situation is, what am I going to be paying top dollar for a wide receiver to do? You're going to come in with either Sam Darnold at your quarterback position or a young quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. You have no real playmakers outside of an aging Aaron Jones. And this team, whether offensively, whether defensively, is not ready to compete in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Minnesota is going to be in the bottom of this division without a shadow of a doubt. So, I don't know that I am paying $30 million a year for a wide receiver to say that I'm last in the NFC North.
I agree. Justin Jefferson, come to Green Bay. I look at the NFC North and I look at the landscape of the NFC, and in a couple weeks, just like I did on Protect Our Queens last week, I'm gonna put out my NFC tiers for the NFL. So we're gonna talk about where the Packers are, where the Packers are. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I look at the Lions, I look at the Bears, I look at the Vikings, I look at the landscape of the NFC, and after the draft, not just our draft, but just the draft, I look at the Green Bay Packers as, at worst, the 5th best team in the conference. At worst, they are the 5th best team in the conference. And I'm going to be honest with you, there are only 2 teams right now that are definitively better than the Green Bay Packers. And we know who those 2 teams are.
I'm not sure, because I can say one is definitively better. I don't know. Because I know you're going to say Detroit. And the thing is with Detroit, what people forget is, Detroit waxed us at home. We returned the favor on Thanksgiving.
No, it's not Detroit. I'm not going to say that Detroit's definitively better than us. I think the 2 teams that are definitively better than us are the Niners. And honestly, it might be just because maybe Matt LaFleur just don't got it in them. Maybe we're never going to beat the Lions. Maybe that's what it is. No, I think the 49ers are definitively better than us. And despite the struggles they had at the end of last season, I do think that the Eagles are definitively better than us. That's it. That's it. And I know that, and I know that's a tough one for a lot of people. I know it is. I know it's a tough one, especially for you. But I am not going to look at the Eagles, especially after another excellent draft from Howie Roseman, and just completely say, we're better than them. I know for a fact, though, that there is absolutely not a definitive open and shut case that the Lions are better than us. And after what happened in the playoffs last season, there is not an open and shut case for the Cowboys being better than us. You put the Cowboys ahead of the Packers, no problem with you. Is it definitive without argument? Absolutely not. And so the Packers are anywhere from 3 to 5 in the NFC, and I'm okay with that. Totally.
I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with you putting Philadelphia above us. My issue is definitively, and here's the thing, right? Like on talent, like on paper, sure, that team is probably the most talented team in the entire NFC. The problem is coaching. And like, I don't know whether Jalen Hurts' injury was way worse than we were told that it was, but like, his dual threat ability is what propped up his MVP campaign 2 seasons ago. Sure. And yet all of a sudden, now you try to transform him into this pocket passer, and then the offense is not the same as it is. Even in that, you ran the ball significantly less. No, there is no your future Hall of Fame center in Jason Kelce is no longer there. Like, your defensive line has just gotten worse. For all these young players that you've brought in on that defensive side of the ball, none of them exactly have shined as yet. Like, and they still, they brought in they made some additions to that defensive backfield, but they told people, remember I told Guru, and Guru did not want to hear me. I like being right against Guru, right? I told him that Philadelphia defense 2 seasons ago was very overrated because they relied heavily on turnovers. And when they're not turning over the ball, they have problems, especially against stopping the run. So therein lies my problem. And yes, they have gotten so many young players on that side of the ball, but none of these young players have shown me defensively, that is, whether it is up front or in the defensive backfield. And then they lost their best pass rusher in Hassan Reddick. Like, that is why again, talent-wise, when you look, you have the 2 wide receivers, A.J. Brown and the former Devontae Smith. Then you have Saquon Barkley. You have Jalen Hurts. You have a very good offensive line, even though you've lost Jason Kelce. I'm not seeing talent-wise are better.
They have Saquon Barkley now. Like, there's a lot of...
Definitively, though, that's what it gives San Francisco. I don't know definitively. I don't know.
I think the other one, too, is the coaching. I think you can't ignore
that's what I like.
Perspective of it as well. I mean, I don't want to get too big for the britches. You know, there's a lot of people in the offseason that have been putting Packers in the Super Bowl.
No, I'm not that guy.
Whether it's because of how great we were last season, or it's because of the whole Super Bowl colors conspiracy script thing, whatever it is, I got you. I look at the Packers and I say, this is a team that is just like we were last season, but a lot more convincingly in the running for the division. This is a team that is a lot more convincingly going to be in the running for the top seed in the conference. And this is a team that is a lot more convincingly one of the teams that when we get to December, January, and that one game in February, and we're talking about which teams can we see in that one game in February, this is a team, because of the draft, that has gotten themselves one step closer.
And I want to make one more point about Philadelphia, why I don't trust them. Beyond Nick Sirianni, now you've brought in an offensive coordinator that is known for not wanting to run the football. And the strength of your team is the offensive line. You've brought in Saquon Barkley, but somehow, some way, you think that Kellen Moore is the answer to your offensive problems. And it will not be, because, yeah, sure, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are probably going to eat on the outside. But the strength of your team is that offensive line and running the football. And Kellen Moore has never been the coach to persistently stick with running the football. And you know me, what wins in December, what wins in January, and ultimately February when it gets cold, running the football behind a good offensive line. I'm with you. The Philadelphia Eagles are by talent better than us, but definitively, I'll side A them.
That's fair. That is a great way to put a button on it, put a ribbon on it for the first episode of the Pack a Punch podcast. Thank you to all of you guys that watch live. Thanks to everyone that will watch this back. Please, please, please follow, drop a like, comment, subscribe to the Give Us a Shot Network for more episodes of the Pack a Punch podcast, for more episodes of the Protect Our Queens podcast, for talking about sports, JT and the Don, the High Spot podcast, the Divide, the Chicago, the Shy Kid. A lot of great stuff happening over here. So like, subscribe, all that stuff. Stay tapped in. And for more on all things Packers and women's basketball, you can follow me at marcus.talks.sports on Instagram. I'm super pumped. Thursday, the schedule drops. So Justin and I, and hopefully Emmitt, will be right back here next week to break down the schedule and give our way too early record predictions for the Green Bay Packers. So I'm very excited for that. Can't wait for that.
I want to buy tickets to go to Brazil for that season opener right now to go on for that Philadelphia game.
I had a passport and money in my savings account.
I have one of the two, and I don't have to tell you which one. It definitely isn't savings in the account. But I would absolutely love to go to Brazil for that season opener night. That's going to be crazy.
Oh, that's going to be a great one. And apparently no one can wear green because they've got like that thing.
Because of the Corinthians Palmeiras situation, and I don't know, so you put two teams who wear green in a stadium where green is not allowed.
NFL doesn't always think things through. It's fine. We'll probably wear like our all white jerseys and the Eagles.
Yeah, but what's Philadelphia going to wear?
They got those all black jerseys that they can wear.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
they've got those all. Bro, can I just say real quick, we're on top of jerseys. Am I the only Packers fan that wants an all like? Am I the only one that wants the all yellow uniforms? Like, is that just me?
Yeah, it's just you. I don't. I love this 50s. So if y'all can't see properly,
those are nice.
I love these.
When I first saw them, I was disgusted, and then I saw them in action. I was like, okay, those are nice. But whenever I play with the Packers, this is no lie. Whenever I play with the Packers on Madden, whether it's against a friend, in friend, or whatever, I always, because there is in Madden somehow a yellow jersey. I don't know where it came from because I've never seen this jersey used in it, but I will put on the all yellow. So they have a yellow jersey. They obviously have the yellow pants. I put on the all yellow fit, and I think there should be an all. I think we should have the all green ones that we have. I think we should have the all white ones because those are clean. I would love the all white ones with the white helmet. I think that'd be amazing.
There is rumors that we are bringing an alternate white helmet this season.
I think we should. I think you know what? When you think about like the Bengals, for example, the Bengals and their all whites, they have the field to go with it. Bro, we're in Green Bay. It snows. Could you imagine? We go there. It's snowing. We have the white. We have the white on white with the white helmet. Oh, that'd be crazy. And I want to see all yellow. We already have the yellow helmets. We got the yellow pants already. All we need is the yellow jersey. And Madden knows something that we don't because it's in the game. It's in Madden. It's in Madden. So I would like just once. I just want to see it. Just maybe even it's a one-off. Just give me the all yellows just one time and I'll be happy.
I have to see that, right? But I like my white away jersey. So I didn't tell you, right? I got a Christian Watson one. I was trying to get
really.
I was trying to get Jaden Reed because that's really my favorite player in the Packers.
Yeah.
No, but I couldn't get it in my size, so I got a Christian Watson white away jersey. No. Yeah.
Well, I am getting very into being uniform on my shows. Right, Martin got me some Protect Our Queens merch, so I try to wear that as much as possible. Protect Our Queens. I'm gonna start wearing a lot more Packers. I need to start buying some more Packers jerseys. I don't want to wear anything other than Packers stuff on this show. So
I'm saying
there's going to be the Jaden Reed jersey is in the cart, and I haven't bought it yet because I've been in school. I've been paying for school. My birthday's coming up, and I still can't buy it because I'm having a party, so I gotta buy some of that. But the first chance I get to pull the trigger on that Jaden Reed jersey, I'm going to buy it, and it is the I think it's the green one, the one that you have. But I think it's that one actually. I'm going to be decked out. I'm going to be decked out in the Packers gear because the goal ultimately is to go to Detroit, Chicago, or Minnesota.
For a road game?
Decked out in my gear as the only Packers fan there. Not
I would
one, but
I tell you, avoid Chicago.
I will definitely avoid Chicago, but one of those places with all my Packers gear, I'm going to have, the camera with me, and I'm just going to go out there, and I'm just going to troll fans. Decked out.
Yeah. Do it in Detroit.
In a couple months, I'm going back to New York, decked out in my Aces gears. I'm an Aces fan. When the Aces go to New York to play the Liberty, I'm going to be standing outside of Barclays Center with all my Aces gear on, with a microphone and a camera to go troll. it's what I need to do. I feel like it's what I need to do.
Because you're my friend and brother, right? I would suggest not doing this in Chicago. So, and this is nothing against Bears fans, but yeah, try that in Minnesota or Detroit. You're better off there.
That's a good point. I appreciate it. But hey, we're gonna make it happen though. We're gonna make it happen. I got might even. You know what? Another place that doesn't like us very much. I'm gonna go to Dallas. Decked out.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
I'm gonna go to Dallas decked out here and ruffle some feathers down there as well. Well, anyway, thank you guys, as I said earlier, for tuning into the very first episode of the Pack a Punch podcast. So for my guy Justin Marvel, this is Marcus of the. I have so many shows now. I didn't know what to say just there.
Pack a Punch.
Marcus of the Pack a Punch podcast. Thank you guys for watching. I don't have a sign off yet, so just thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna get it though. You guys know I come with a great sign off. So for now, just thank you guys for watching.